The first 8 months of the Trump administration's aggressive tariff policy have created a profound economic paradox. Despite the average effective U.S. tariff rate surging from 2.4% to 18.6%, the highest level since 1933, the global economy has not yet experienced the hard landing many economists initially predicted. This apparent resilience is deceptive, masking underlying vulnerabilities and long-term risks. The initial stability can be attributed to factors like corporate stockpiling, the inherent lag in economic policy impact, and the absorption of costs by multinational corporations. However, these are temporary buffers. The tariffs are fundamentally attacks on American consumers and businesses, with estimates suggesting an average cost of $2,400 per U.S. household. The administration's goal of forcing a manufacturing renaissance is undermined by domestic labor and resource shortages, leading to sectoral distortions where minor gains in manufacturing are offset by significant losses in agriculture, services, and construction. Furthermore, retaliatory tariffs from major trading partners like China, Canada, and the European Union are actively harming U.S. export industries. While the most catastrophic effects have been deferred, the combination of rising consumer costs, global economic slowdown, and escalating trade disputes creates a precarious outlook, echoing the historical missteps of the 1930 Smoot-Hawley Act. The current calm is not a sign of victory, but the quiet before a potential storm. In the first few months of 2025, the United States declared economic war on the world. With the stroke of a pen, the Trump administration ripped up decades of trade policy, imposing the most aggressive tariffs this country has seen in nearly a century. The average tax on imported goods skyrocketed from just over 2% to a staggering 18.6%. The reaction was predictable: panic. Economists warned of dire consequences. Markets braced for a hard landing, a sharp, painful recession. But then a strange thing happened. The crash never came. In fact, after an initial dip, Wall Street rallied and investors grew bullish. By August, only 5% of global fund managers expected a hard landing, down from nearly 50% in April. A seductive narrative has taken hold that the global economy has dodged a bullet, that the warnings were overblown, and that maybe, just maybe, trade wars are good and easy to win. That narrative is dangerously wrong. The U.S. economy isn't resilient. It's running on borrowed time. Today, we'll break down the 4 reasons why this high-stakes gamble is doomed to fail. Reason 1. The resilience is an illusion, so why does the economy seem okay? The answer lies in a series of temporary buffers that are masking the real damage. First, businesses saw this coming. Knowing tariffs were on the horizon, U.S. companies went on a massive buying spree, stockpiling imported goods and materials before the taxes hit. This front-loading of imports created a cushion, allowing them to delay passing on higher costs to consumers. But those stockpiles are finite. Once they run out, the price hikes will become unavoidable. Second, the costs are being laundered globally. Large multinational corporations aren't just raising prices in the U.S. They're spreading the pain across all the markets they operate in, diluting the immediate impact on any single country. It's a clever accounting trick, but it doesn't eliminate the cost, it just hides it. Finally, there's a simple lag effect. Economic policy, especially on this scale, is like a slow-acting poison. It takes months, even years, for the full consequences to ripple through the system. The pain is coming. As one commenter aptly put it, tariffs take time to bite. By the end of the year, Americans will be bitten by a sizable chunk of pain. Reason 2. The America First math doesn't add up. The administration's core argument is that tariffs protect American jobs and punish foreign cheaters. This fundamentally misunderstands who pays for a tariff. A tariff is a tax on imports, paid by the American companies that import the goods. who then pass that cost on to American consumers. Multiple analyses confirm this. The budget lab at Yale estimates these tariffs will cost the average American household an extra $2,400 a year. The Penn-Wharton budget model projects a lifetime loss of $22,000 for a middle-income household. This isn't a tax on China. It's a tax on you. The ultimate goal, we're told, is to force manufacturing to move back to the U.S. But this ignores a glaring reality. America currently lacks the resources for this grand industrial rebirth. There are labor shortages and critical gaps in technology and supply chains. The result is a painful, lopsided trade-off. Economic models show that while manufacturing might see a small bump of around 2%, that gain is more than wiped out by losses in other sectors. Agriculture is projected to shrink by nearly 2% and services by 0.3% as retaliatory tariffs from other countries lock American goods out of foreign markets. We're sacrificing our globally competitive sectors to protect ones that can't scale up. It's economic malpractice. Reason 3. The world is not a passive victim. The Trump administration seems to operate on the premise that the U.S. can act with impunity and the rest of the world will simply absorb the blow. This has been a colossal miscalculation. Our biggest trading partners have not taken this lying down. China has responded with retaliatory tariffs as high as 125% on U.S. goods and restrictions on key exports like rare earth minerals. Canada has slapped 25% tariffs on billions of dollars of American products, from orange juice to motorcycles. The European Union has targeted iconic American goods, from bourbon to beef, with its own set of duties. This isn't just posturing, it's causing real harm. Retaliation is expected to shave an additional 0.2% off U.S. GDP. Industries in states like Washington, Texas, and Ohio are now considered at risk as their access to global markets is choked off, and they are adapting. Chinese exports to the U.S. are down, but they've surged to other parts of the world, up 14% to India and 13% to Southeast Asian nations. The world is learning to trade around the United States. Rather than reshoring manufacturing, Trump's policies are accelerating the creation of a global economy where America is no longer the central hub. It's a strategy for isolation, not domination. Reason 4. The ghost of disasters past. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of this entire affair is that we have seen this movie before. In 1930, as the world teetered on the brink of economic collapse, Congress passed the Smoot-Hawley Act, dramatically raising tariffs to protect American farmers and workers. The intention was to cut imports. The result was a catastrophic collapse in U.S. exports, which fell by more than half. Smoot-Hawley did not cause the Great Depression, but it was like pouring gasoline on a raging fire. It deepened the crisis, shattered international cooperation, and contributed to a decade of global misery. Today, the average U.S. tariff rate is approaching the levels seen during that disastrous experiment. The parallels are undeniable. A policy born of economic nationalism, a belief in the virtue of protectionism, and a disregard for global consequences. Conclusion: the bill is coming due. The idea that the U.S. has averted a trade shock is a fantasy. The foundations of the American and global economies are being systematically weakened. The current stability is a mirage built on stockpiles that will dwindle and a global patience that is wearing thin. The most profound damage may not even be the direct cost of the tariffs, but the uncertainty they create. Businesses cannot plan, invest, or hire when trade policy is dictated by presidential whim. This paralysis is a quiet killer of economic growth. The Trump administration has pushed its luck, betting that America's economic might would allow it to rewrite the rules of global trade without consequence. But the bill for this experiment is coming due. The question is no longer if the U.S. economy will pay the price, but how steep that price will be.